On April Fool's Day, I like to discuss the comedic characters in fighting games, and one constant I've noticed among characters from my joke characters and comic relief characters in fighting games lists is that there are a lot of characters that fight their opponents accidentally. Some of their fighting methods include falling over, dropping or losing control of their own possessions, or moving in an unintended way. So for this video, I'll be looking at the klutzes or clumsiest characters in fighting games based on their mishaps in the arena and any accidental combat moves. Despite that description, some of these characters are still skilled fighters that just hilariously trip up every once in a while. Since this list has aspects of my previous two April Fool's topics, character entries from those videos are less likely to appear here for the sake of giving other characters a chance to shine. However, you will see a few returning characters. So let's trip over the top 10 clumsiest characters in fighting games. Number 10. Han Fu from Fatal Fury. Han Fu is a nunchaku-wielding policeman based on Jackie Chan's Police Story character. While he is a skilled fighter who can kick most asses, he's not immune to the occasional gaffe during a match. During his attack where he swings around his nunchaku wildly, if he misses his target, he may pay dearly for his lack of precision, since he full-on Kisara Westfields himself. Since no one could withstand that pain without reacting even a little, Han Fu is stunned momentarily, leaving himself open for his opponent to attack, adding insult to injury, if additional injury counts as insult. Number 9. Minyan Bear from King of Fighters Maximum Impact. This is probably the most anime King of Fighters can get, even more than Athena. Minyan is a witch in training using white magic, but she doesn't have full control of her powers, so she's a bit of a klutz with them, and just in general. Like she enters the ring and almost trips, but catches herself because she's so wacky, or just falls flat on her face. The in-training part of her character comes into play a lot when she accidentally puts herself into harm's way with specific magic attacks, like her giant fireball, which deals big damage but she mildly burns herself, or her magic bomb, where she accidentally summons an active bomb and has no idea what to do with it before it explodes. Luckily, her opponent is right over there to solve that problem. Did you really not know you were about to summon a bomb? Also, it seems that she thinks that she is a cat. It has nothing to do with being clumsy, but it gives her more leverage on being the most anime King of Fighters character. Number 8. Servbot from Marvel vs. Capcom 2. The Servbots are entertaining, but they should steer clear of the battle arena. Just let Tron take all the hits and jump in when she says to. Servbot does not even look like he wants to be here. Before the match even starts, he cannot keep his balance. Some of the Servbot's attacks involve him dropping plates or just falling over. For robots meant to help Tron, they are not the most skilled at balancing. Even in Tron's character portrait for Marvel vs. Capcom 2, they are in the midst of toppling over as Tron uses them for an armrest. Though, the Servbots are pretty well composed if Tron is the one calling all the shots, except the Servbot who has to make lunch. He gets the short end of the stick. All in all, I should not be too surprised at the clumsiness of these robots when left to fight alone, especially since one of them is literally named Clumsy. Number 7. Karine Sohn from Voltage Fighter Go Kaiser. Her official nickname is the Clumsy Heavenly Goddess, so how could you not include her? Voltage Fighter Go Kaiser is a 1995 fighting game that takes place in the distant robotic future of 2017. Well, just go look out your window, everyone. We're in the future Voltage Fighter predicted. Karine earned her nickname of Clumsy Heavenly Goddess with moves like, not that either, moves based on Journey to the West. All of these moves go as planned. How did she get that nickname? Did the character bio lie to us? Well fine, SNK. I'll just make this entry about a different character you never brought back. Better number 7. Hyena from King of Fighters Maximum Impact 2. He's a former hired goon who acts tough in the ring but falls over a lot. However, he uses that to his advantage pretty well, like after his flip kicks where he falls to the ground only to do a surprise backflip. He has some pretty typical moves for a clumsy joke character, such as a move where he misses his patented Hyena punch, falling to the ground and doing a series of tumbles that can deal some sizable damage. Though some of this stumbling may just be fabricated, namely the move where he pretends to die called this century's most fearsome acting. Truly, he's either a fantastic actor or incredibly lucky. Number 6. Pichu from Super Smash Bros. Melee. Sakurai said he wanted to make a character that hurts itself when it attacks, so we saw his wish in the form of Pichu, the pre-evolution baby form of Pikachu, with the same base attacks as Pikachu, some of which make Pichu dizzy because his little body just cannot take it. Its electric attacks hurt itself since Pichu is unable to use them without suffering recoil of his own ineptitude. If Sakurai did want to make an unintentionally masochistic character, Pichu was the right choice since the anime and some of its Pokédex entries mention it even surprises itself with its jolts of electricity. So how did this idea work out in the end? He was bad. However, Pichu may have still been adored based on the comments for my top 10 joke characters in fighting games list, where Pichu was the most suggested character missing on my list by a wide margin. Very wide. So even if he's one of the worst in the game, he should rest assured that his legacy was, is, and will be remembered. Number 5. Shingo from King of Fighters. Shingo is the model for following your dreams based on what you watch on TV. He self-taught himself all of his martial arts techniques based on his favorite fighter, Kyo Kusanagi, the protagonist of King of Fighters. His moves are clearly based on Kyo's moves, except he cannot spout fire out of his fists, and more importantly to this video's topic, he cannot finish certain difficult maneuvers in these techniques. The important part is he tried. For example, in Shingo's incomplete Twilight Wheel, he unleashes a series of kicks only to fall down flat on his face when trying to end the attack, imitating Kyo's RED kick. I love the physics of attacks like this, since it seems gravity takes effect in the middle of Shingo defying the laws of physics. With Shingo's optimistic attitude in midst of his errors, it makes him feel like a more humble and competent Dan Hibiki, since he is trying his best using moves based off those of the main characters, even if it does not work out in the end. He may not be the best, but it's hard to root against the magic of the Shingo kick. Number 4. Nori from Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter. This is literally just a guy who walked onto a set of a crossover fighting game, not being a part of either company or a fighter, but in a twist of fate, he was a formidable opponent by not actually fighting. I discussed his history in my strange guest characters in fighting games video, but to elaborate on what Nori does to be clumsy, well, just him existing. Part of his fighting style is accidental attacking, like slipping on a banana peel, losing an item from his bag when cowering in fear, or just flailing his arms wildly and then falling over at the end of the attack. Still, it works to his benefit since that part hits low. While Nori never returned, his legacy lived on in Phoenix Wright's moveset for Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Mixed in with Mr. Wright's lawyer skills, he fights accidentally by slipping and his Maya Hyper combo, where she does Nori's exact arm flailing and falling animation.
I got a bad feeling.
Number 3. Mr. Satan or Hercule from Dragon Ball Z Budokai. Mr. Satan may have single-handedly saved the Earth from the horrid and almighty Cell, but he is still prone to tripping and dropping some things, both in the anime and video games. While most DBZ games portray him as weak and a coward, he does not fall over himself too much in many of his appearances. However, his clumsy tough luck was on full display in the first DBZ Budokai game. One of his strongest attacks is his super move with a Game Boy bomb. But in Budokai, he also has an attack where he drops the bomb and everyone freezes for a second, as Mr. Satan realizes his tricks have gone horribly wrong. The bomb explodes, flinging him point blank onto his opponent, causing massive damage to whoever he's fighting. Furthermore, he has a similar attack where he does one of his signature techniques followed up with a dynamite kick, which seemingly has no effect, so the character he's fighting karate chops him upwards just as Cell did to him in the anime, only in a twist where Mr. Satan falls right on his opponent and deals damage. All according to plan, right? It just goes to show that Mr. Satan can never lose, well, maybe on a level of morality. Number 2. Manaka from Aquapaza. This game has a bunch of schoolgirls, but Manaka is the least fit to fight of all of them. She's a quiet girl who likes spending time in the library, and she's clumsy. Her weapon of choice is a small stack of books that unintentionally fits with her fighting style of tripping and almost losing her balance. She can also apparently summon bookcases from another dimension or something like that, since some of her attacks involve her knocking over bookcases that just appear when convenient. She stumbles and either knocks over one or a row of domino-like bookshelves. Manaka also has a super move where her reasonable stack of books turns into way too many books and she just falls backwards since it's too unstable to carry. It's raining books. How did you even manage to stack all those to begin with? You know you can't carry all those. Honorable mentions: Dan Hibiki from Street Fighter and Dampierre from Soul Calibur, since I did not want to have too many characters for my joke characters list on this one. Plus, Dan's attacks usually go off as planned, it's just that his strength and technique are pathetic, so he ends up hurting himself or getting knocked around. Dampierre is a klutz though, even if he still fakes being hurt since he's a con artist. Also, all the drunk fighters in fighting games were omitted on this list, since their clumsiness is self-imposed by their love of liquor rather than being natural clumsiness. Not to mention, that sounds like a topic for its own list one day. Number 1 is a character who is not built to fight, frail, elderly, and falls down after many attacks. But since he's in a video game, none of that matters when considering his strength. Number 1. Dr. Biskanovich from Tekken. He was clearly a joke since when playable in Tekken 3, he borrowed many moves from other characters with a special twist. He falls over after he performs basically any attack. That's Dr. B's big gimmick. He hits, he falls randomly, and repeat. If you look at his Tekken 3 character portrait, he looks so miserable that you just selected him. He clearly knows he should not be fighting due to his equilibrium issue. In the game's story, he builds the Jack robots and other machines, along with technology for Kazuya under duress. He primarily works with Yoshimitsu's clan, so he's a good guy who just wants to do his research and have robot buddies, and a robot daughter. I'll give him credit that by Tekken Tag Tournament 2, he figured out how to survive in the ring with upgraded moves. He now clearly carries bombs and utilizes the power of static electricity. He still falls over constantly, but it's more intentional now as an input by the player, allowing the doctor to hop up and kick his unsuspecting opponent. He's astoundingly spry for a man of his age. And for the bombs, they seem to detonate without his intention sometimes, since he's just walking around the stage and boom, he's propelled towards the opponent doing a clumsy body slam with some assistance. He even looks happier now in his character portrait. I guess he doesn't mind having these bombs accidentally go off in his pocket if it works in his favor. So Dr. Biskanovich stumbles his way to number 1 on this list. Now, what did you think of these choices? Agree? Disagree? Was I the clumsy one by leaving a character off this list? Let me know. Thank you all for watching, happy April Fool's Day, and wait, I did not prank anyone. Maybe I still have some time. Let me just check to see how much time I have left in this video to do so. Less than 20 seconds. Well, there's always next year. And speaking of next, I'll see you all in the next video.